All right, so this is for stabilization exercises for a basketball player who's just come off an ankle injury. With any injuries, especially acute injuries, we want to progress from very basic to the more advanced. So what we're going to do is kind of start with just a standing exercise. So whatever ankle, obviously we're going to do all the exercises bilaterally. We don't need the ball right now, but we're just going to start to work on kind of beginning the bounce phase, and I'll try and get in picture here. So I'm going to start with my right foot, bend the knee slightly, okay, so we want that knee flexed, and I'm just going to do a series of toe touches. So I'm touching the front, I'm going to touch the side, the back, the side, and the front. And I'll try and face the camera here. We got some knee flexion, okay? So we want to begin to kind of work on this ankle stability here. Touch the front, touch the side, touch the back, side, and then the front. And again, we can switch, touch, touch, touch. We'll make sure the athlete works through that. Obviously we want to be pain-free. Once they start to master that, now we can kind of start adding elements. So a piece of foam here, okay, square foam. We're gonna have the athlete stand on this. This is gonna add some instability. Okay, we wanna do the same thing. We wanna touch, touch, touch. Reminding the athlete to keep the knee flexed, okay? What we find is that when things get difficult, the athlete will try and extend the leg, trying to lock it out. All right, so we wanna maintain that knee flexion, touch, 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 touch. So the instability of the foam will help with that, with strengthening in many different directions. One other cue we want to give the athlete is to make sure they're not staring down. We kind of want to let that vestibular and the proprioception systems kind of dominate this exercise versus the visual, we don't want them staring down. So again, we start in the front, touch, 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 touch. Maintain that good knee flexion. Athletes will feel in the glutes, they'll feel in the quads, the ankles will become a mount. You know, if it's the injured ankle or if they do have kind of weak pathology in the ankle, or excuse me, weak ankles with some injury pathology going on, that's going to kind of highlight that. Okay, so now, once the athlete has mastered that, we'll go ahead and use a balance board. Now this is just as simple as balancing on the board. Now you can do it in two ways. I'm going to put the foot in the center, okay? Get a little knee flexion, and the athlete's going to try and work on dorsiflexion, plantar flexion stabilization. Okay? Once they get that, then we're going to go ahead and do inversion, eversion. Okay, so the athlete's going to go ahead and step on that. Same thing, knee flexion. All right, working on stabilization. Again, try and bring their gaze up. We don't want them staring down the whole time. Okay? With ankles injuries, this could be kind of a borderline strengthening exercise with the ankles, but we want to make sure that we're progressing through and that the athlete can kind of maintain pain-free and do these exercises, kind of preparing for the next two phases of the strength and the power. Lastly, we'll use this cushioning. Okay, so unlike the balance board, this is kind of gonna move in many different directions. Okay, again, staying on it, maintaining that knee flexion. And we want to do it for a minute or two, try to maintain balance. But you notice the foot is kind of going in any direction. Okay? You can have the athlete do tasks as they get better, catching a ball, throwing a ball, but we don't want to start adding that element until we make sure that the athlete is fully recovered and that ankle strength is back. Okay, once the ankle strength gets back, then we can move on to the strength phase. Once the athlete can kind of demonstrate that, then we're just going to add some balance and simple ball tossing. We start with an easy ball. Just kind of get them used to it. We're just going to underhand toss. Remember, knee flexion. Okay, upright torso. We want the gaze looking up. Just tossing the ball back against the wall, opposite hand, getting used to kind of multitasking. All right. Again, we want to get rid of that visual support, working on more proprioception and vestibular. Okay, back and forth. Once that's achieved, okay, bilaterally we can add a little bit bigger ball. Okay, knee flexion, okay, catch and throw, maintaining balance, trying throwing the ball in different areas where the athlete might have to reach, okay, and that'll help work on a little stabilization as well. And lastly, we've got a bigger ball here, a little bit heavier, okay, really going to work on stabilization, okay. This is kind of the final phase of stabilization. You can play catch, you can throw it against the wall. It's kind of whatever the athlete's ready for. With basketball players, usually very long-limbed, okay, tend to have a weak core. Muscle endurance is there. Muscle strength might be lacking, but they also usually have very poor ankle stability. So we want to make sure that we're really hitting home on the stability exercises before we advance them to the next level. All right, so we probably want to do these exercises twice a week, especially with an acute ankle injury, and then work probably a 6-week stabilization with them as far as getting them ready for power and strength.